social media contract.
So, I've lived in Kincaid my whole life. I have family and friends who've been here their whole life too, 28 years. I started working here because I wanted to improve the community that I live in. And the problem I have with this contract is that the board has essentially told me that my voice is no longer important. I cannot discuss things with the people in the community. I also don't believe this is constitutional, and it was never voted on. I also have read through the employee handbook a couple times, and there are things in this contract that are not in this, specifically the employee usage section. So the last thing I would like to say is that I also think that it's a little shady that the village is trying to silence what the employees have to say and keep the people from knowing what's going on, especially in public meetings. Just ask that the board think about the contract and discuss it and at least vote on it in a board meeting.
Well, thank you, Christian. I took a look at it at the mayor's instruction. I spoke to the clerk about it as well, and they sent it to me. I understand your hesitancy and concerns, but I was thinking on the way over here. Have you seen the movie Tombstone? And I don't mean that facetiously. I mean it to use it as an example. The Virgil, the old guy, comes out there. Remember when they take the guns out of the tombstone and says, you know, everybody freaks out. Oh, you're telling me I can't do this, that, and the other. And he simply says, I'm not saying you can't own a gun. I'm not saying you can't carry a gun. I'm just saying you can't carry a gun in town. That's what this social media policy is. We're not saying you can't use Facebook, Twitter, X, Snapchat, whatever else. We're not saying you can't use it. We're not saying you can't use it as an employee. We're saying just be smart with it. Use common sense. I don't believe it inflicts on anybody's constitutional right for freedom of speech. I assume that's probably what you were alluding to, Christian. And I don't believe that it stops anybody from using social media. It just basically says when you do it, don't put the village in a negative light. And don't do any of these things, which I call act like an adult paragraphs, which are, you know, don't promote discrimination, you know, don't do things like that. So I don't know that it necessarily infringes on anybody's rights there. It just kind of says, hey, I understand that social media has all kinds of benefits, because it does, but it also has a lot of risks. And to your point, a lot of municipalities have instilled and used this. Okay.
I know Springfield has one.
Yeah.
My issue is that it just says that essentially if somebody doesn't like it, I can be written up or even fired. Whereas Springfield specifically calls out what you cannot say.
Yeah, and this, like I said, I believe, and I didn't look too deeply into it, but I believe this came from the Illinois Municipal League. So it's not something that we necessarily created either, Christian, if you know what I mean. It's not like, hey, we're going after specific employees. It was kind of a generic form. So to your point, I suppose, or maybe even your concern, you know, it may not be perfect, but it is a policy that I think the village wants everybody to sign off on. So, and that's,
Yeah. If this isn't in the employee handbook, isn't it?
it's not in the employee handbook that I know of.
Okay. So
No.
shouldn't it be in the employee handbook and in the ordinances? At least specifically the employee usage part, because the employee handbook only talks about employee usage of village-owned computers. It doesn't talk about what you do on your own social media. It doesn't talk about what you do on your own computer. So.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Christian, I didn't look into, but you bring up good kind of gray area, right? Like, hey, when I'm on village time versus when I'm on my own time, village property versus non-village property. I did look into that, and inclusion in the handbook's probably not a bad idea. I didn't look into that specific issue either. I certainly can, sir, if the mayor wants me to, and I would, as he's shaking his head, yes, I think he wants me to. So I can look into that deeper if you like.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, probably on behalf of all the employees.
Sure. Well, in general, I don't mind saying in general, I think the employee handbook needs to be revamped and updated anyway, so
Yeah, it
I
does.
appreciate your comments. I agree wholeheartedly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, discuss what to do with the extra police vehicle.
And I had talked about that a couple times.
We need to put it up for bid, that's what we need to
Well,
talk
I didn't know, I guess first, did you find anything out?
Yes, so I talked to the USDA, I talked to Patricia, the one that we dealt with last time.
Yep.
She said with the last census, the 2020 census that finally was published, that we were $237 over for household income to get grants.
Wow.
Uh,
200.
And she said the money is already lacking to get the grant anyway, so she said, even if you did qualify, we're like out of funding. Pretty, not out of funding, but she said it's less vehicles are getting approved.
Well, don't know unless we ask. I guess
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah.
So thank you for checking it.
about. But we do need to get rid of that.
And then I didn't know what vehicle, if, you know, we'll have an extra one sitting out there, will you go ahead and?
It would be the white one, I would suggest. It's got the most miles. We've had minor issues, no major issues with it.
Do you know how many miles it's got on it?
100 and,
Over 100,000?
yeah. Two of the vehicles have over 100, the truck has less than 100, well, way less than 100.
You'd have to put it up for bid.
Mm-hmm. So I'll put it on the next agenda, if you would, Jamie.
And, I mean, I think we're on pace this year to be way, quite a bit under budget again. I think, I had to ask Beverly how much we kind of set aside last year for a vehicle.
5,500, wasn't it?
I'm not sure the exact
It's
amount.
What was the
5,500.
last quote I gave you, was it 14,000?
Yeah, I thought it was 12, but I could be wrong on that. And, we're on pace to do that again this year. So, not even necessarily this fiscal year, but even into next, I think we would have enough money to, buy one outright. If we sold the white, the white scrub.
Then just put it up for, I guess we can run some, run some numbers on it. Can we have like a, minimum, we have a minimum on it or something?
Yeah.
Check into and see what.
Yeah,
You
I can
put a
see.
reserve on it, right? Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, it's a no-brainer.
yep. Okay, thank you, DJ.
Discuss property on 1102 Springfield Street.
I'm sure everybody's aware of the property that now that was sold in the Village of Kincaid down Springfield Street, next to the oil well property across from Catty Corner, across the old car wash. Now, it is time as far as that we, I guess put it up for sealed bids, do something with it. I would like to propose, as far as we put this on the next agenda, to put this up for sealed bids, and in the process of that, again, put a reserve on a minimum. We have $629.69 into the property. Now, Jared has some fees on top of that, but I would like to set something up that we basically, in this sealed bid, have,
Retainer.
retain a reserve on it of some sort. But here's the thing I'd like to put on there is they have, whoever purchases this has 3 months, 90 days to tear it down, clean it up, fill in the hole. That, when we looked at that, we're looking at probably up to 7 dumpsters, up to, plus our guys cleaning all that up in the labor and that. And I would soon see if we can find someone to bid on that, buy it.
With that contingency that they take care of it and tear
Yes,
it
sir.
down, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And us not mess with it.
yeah.
It's all boarded up right now. And again, that may be something that, our goal's been that's been a problem for quite a while anyway, clean it up. If we could put that on the next.
We need to
agenda.
move that quickly, we don't need that eyesore to be
Mr.
sustained.
Mayor.
There's already somebody in this.
put that on the next agenda. I think. Sorry. Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, put that on the next.
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
Discuss American Legion solar panel.
Well, Mark, I didn't know if Mark was going to come up or not. Mark,
Go ahead, I don't know, I haven't heard from you.
Okay.
What we're wanting, or like for the city to do, we lease the property where the Legion's at from the city. We have a 99-year lease. We would like to put a solar system in, and it's gonna be on the south end of the building. One of the grants that we're trying to get, since the city actually owns the property, we own the building. And we rent the property from the city. We would like the city to sign that property off so we can apply for this grant and help us pay for that system. Because it's gonna cost us about $80,000 to put it in. And we're hoping we can get this little grant to help pay some of the money back to us.
The one beside it.
No,
just.
where the parking lot is.
Where the parking lot is.
The whole park, yeah, would be on the south end of the park. We're had them look, we're not going to go out in the grass if we don't have to.
They lease the, what the buildings that go in the parking lot. And I thought it was only a 40-year lease, but.
No, it's 90-year lease.
And their contract also says they can use the grass back in the east between the, back to the building and the pond. But they don't lease it, they do have to use it. So you just want to use the south parking lot?
That's the way we looked at that, and that's what we've been discussing.
But we gotta sign the property over to them. That's what he's saying.
We gotta sign it over there.
Well, if you guys can sign a lease where it's ours, you know, but you can, because I'll tell you what, our members are getting shorter and shorter, because we're all getting up in age. We have no young guys who want to come in. Eventually, somewhere down the line, that building will end up at the city. And we're trying to help, if we can, because our electric bill is something much, it's $600 and $700, just for our electric bill. And the solar panels will help us a whole lot. And then if a major disaster happens, or something around here, we'll have heat, we'll have electricity and that, where we can help put people up with our kitchen and everything.
Well, obviously, we need to figure out which route we want to go with this, and then put it on the next agenda to bring it to a vote. And vote
Just
on
make
it.
sure that we're doing everything by the line, that we don't have any kind of liability with the solar. We need to promote it, we need to work with them,
Yeah.
there's no question about it, but we gotta make sure it's like it's supposed to be.
And they
We
haven't
should be on
taken
board.
drawing or anything yet on,
From what Mark told me, that Star Electric was gonna send all the papers here on.
okay, well then, by then, we'll hopefully have something to look at,
Yes.
and, take a look at it, and,
Yeah.
bring it to the board.
Well, if I'll see Mark tomorrow night,
Okay.
and I'll ask him about it, if he's got it, and
Yeah.
get copies of it and bring it to him.
Okay, thank you.
Dale, do you know, is this the same company, solar company that it is on home, or that he's talking to, do you know, or?
We're getting ours from Star Electric in Taylorville,
So, okay,
because we talked to some other companies, but I had a question for everyone. These panels are guaranteed for 30 years unless something happens. And we asked this, I'm the one asked the guy, I said, what are we gonna do if one of these panels go bad? We notify you and you're out of order, you're closed. Who are we gonna do it? You know what this gentleman told me? Whoever we sell it to, somebody buys it.
thank you.
And, you know, that's not a warning. But Star Electric is, guaranteeing us a warning on everything.
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll put it on the next agenda.
Yes.
Discuss Halloween / trunk or treat.
It's 31st October, when we're gonna do truck.
Yeah.
Okay, my only other question was, are they gonna do the Friday and Saturday for the kids besides trunk or treat, or?
That's
that
what
way
we
people
usually do.
knows, that way we can put it out. And
That's what we usually
let
do,
the
2
community
days.
know. So, 31st trunk or treat, and the next 2 days following for the
Yep.
community.
Discuss property at 117 State Street.
That's the property behind the Cardinal Factory that we purchased here on just the back taxes. $818 the village paid for it. It's 117 State Street. The lot is 25 foot wide by 141 foot long. The person that bought the Cardinal Factory actually thought he had owned it, thought it was his. Again, it came up, Mark let us know, notified us. We went ahead and snagged it because we could, so no one else came in from out of state or something to grab this. I was asked if we could put this up for bids also, sealed bids, have a minimum on it, if we could put that on the next agenda. And put that up to sealed bids, and
What reserve are you thinking about putting on?
well, again, we have exactly $818 for my number on that. If, so,
10,000?
yeah, again, it's 25 foot wide. So that's what, too bad it wasn't wider.
I'm gonna cover some of the costs for filing and doing all of them.
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Discuss lake/park.
Yeah, out in the lake, we did the rock on the dam, and we got that pretty much done, but we still need to fix the spillway. And, it's starting, the lake's low enough now to where we can think about doing that. And, so I'd like to put it on the next agenda that we put up for bids, the repair of the, dam at Kincaid Lake. That way that'll get repaired, the water will quit running over it, we can get all of that brush and moss and junk cleaned up off of it, and it'd be a lot safer out there. And the other thing is, this is just more of an information thing, because it was brought up in earlier meetings about the, park. We talked to, I asked Mike if he could get ahold of Mike, Harris, and they're gonna be taking down the fence at the ball field sometime in the near future and put a new fence up. And Mike Harris said that he would donate that fence to the city, so that we could, once that happens, then we can make plans to, put a dog park down there for the community and, get that underway. But that's just more of information right now, because we don't have the specifics on, what it's gonna cost or anything like that. But I just wanna let the village know that we are still that's still in the works. We just don't have all the numbers or everything yet, so. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Discuss putting an old easement up for bids.
Well, we're just saying, we're just talking about this, you know.
This and the State Street thing hasn't been on the agenda. The agenda that was posted doesn't have either of these on there.
Should have been into the spread here.
We got it right here.
Yeah, I do too.
These are just, if we have
Secret
all these
agenda.
ones that we're sure that we're not ever gonna use again, talk about maybe putting them up for sale to the landowners, you know, whatever. The majority of one was the big chunk of garden state there, right?
Correct.
So,
Behind the house that we just was
Yeah.
gifted. So that's when we actually got talking about it.
right. So,
Oh, no.
Well, we have to be put on the, again,
Or maybe not.
Well, this is not, this is not hot front burger stuff, just table it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just table it, just table it and move on.
but when we was, just wanted to bring it up and talk about it, whenever
Yeah.
it was something that came up when we was down there, boarding up the house. And I actually didn't even know we owned that stretch in there, but.
You mean the one behind it?
Yeah. There's an easement right behind the house, there's an easement next to the house, that's not part of that, but there's a field there that. We'll put that on the next agenda if you would, Jamie. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, visitors, a person shall be permitted the opportunity to address officials under the rules established by the Village of Kincaid, 3 minutes, anybody got any questions?
Can the village give us an update on the house located next to the Methodist church to the east, right behind the, and what's going on with that, or what progress is being made with whatever's being done with it?
Yeah, we've been working on that for quite some time now.
I should.
That was done,
Is that Velma?
yeah.
That'll be the thickest one, Mike.
That's the one.
Yeah, this is the calls to the owner right here. This is just the majority of the calls right here, and then everything that, and Jared's on top of that also, so just an update. Originally, that was going to be sold to the church for $6,000. Several months later, I was in DJ's office when that was set up. Several months later, I talked to the church. They said, hey, they raised the price, they want $10,000 now. Reached out to the people, and they said, no, we want $10,000. I said, well, you know, this is something that the house has fallen in. It's only getting worse. Someone's gonna get hurt over there. I don't want anything like this to happen. And this is going on and on and on and on. So I got with the mayor, the board, the attorney, and right now, stuff's being sent from our attorney to them to see if we can, again, we have fines and liens on it, and we're no.
Can I ask, is it a corporation or an individual or what?
It-
What is it?
It's a trust, right?
Yeah, it's,
A trust?
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and it's actually Integrated Investment Fund
Okay.
is what we have. He'll answer the phone. He will. I mean, I said, at the attorney's office, I said, watch, he'll answer the phone. He'll answer the phone. He's my best friend, you know, and you talk, and he, hey, what's, and I'm gonna get back with you, but he never, again, his sister is an attorney. What we was told anyway. We've been doing everything we can to see the church have an extra parking lot there to work for the, you know, the
Yeah,
community.
the church
clean
is
this up.
interested in it, my
Yeah.
understanding, but not at.
Done
not at
everything.
that price.
Each one of these is another, something we're just trying to work on, get some stuff cleaned up.
Okay.
Some people just don't care.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead there, John.
How much money do we have invested as far as attorney fees on that place?
On which one?
The one you just talked about?
Probably not a whole lot.
No, go on.
No, I think I've done the majority of the labor work on it and everything. Probably not a whole lot, John. I think this would have turned over to Jared just recently.
Yeah, just recently in I mean, there's pending litigation against it, so we can't say a ton, but, tracking the right entity and person that gets served is a problem. It's become difficult.
We've been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anybody else?
Back on buildings or houses, my brother passed away 2 years ago, and his house doesn't look much better. I don't know who bought it or whatever, but it's a hazard too. It's on Edison Street.
Is that the
Do
one
you know
that
what the
the
physical address is?
That's the one where the top looks like it's gonna fall in, and it's actually
It's two of
on
those, it's two of those things.
Chase or Lisbon.
I've called it before.
There's
there's no reason for it. If you're not gonna do anything to it, tear it down, because it's terrible inside and out.
I've thought about it before, Jake.
I mean, there's no reason for that.
Thank you.
And what about ordinances with, cars and trucks and driveways that don't run or work?
As long as they're plated.
Plated, tires aired up.
Windows?
It just says running condition. I mean,
Have you run the condition?
as long as they got valid plates, there's not much we can really do after that.
I have a question. Valid plate, I understand, but is that part of an ordinance here?
Correct.
Or it's not a state law? or
No, not a
anything
state
like
law,
that?
no.
It's just the ordinance. So
Yeah.
the ordinance could be changed to say, if it doesn't run, if you don't have, I mean, to me, a car that is licensed but doesn't run, so
The
what?
the biggest issue for us would be is how do we prove that it doesn't run? Like, I can't force someone to go start their car.
Yeah.
Have you looked at it?
Yeah, I've looked at them and, you know, we addressed this issue, a couple of years ago. And he does have them plated and current registration, he doesn't have the tag on the vehicle and they're in his driveway. So, the tag is inside the vehicle, but it is a registered and updated tag.
So you could have 10 or 12 cars to be exaggerating and put in your front yard and be okay.
Yeah, unless the board would, limit how many vehicles, but I don't believe we can limit.
And it has to have a plate on it?
And another thing too,
You have to have a
then
It just has to be registered through the
Then if you
state.
got it changed, then you got to deal with Secretary of State. Because they have laws out there.
Well, it doesn't make my house look any better. I hate to tell you. Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
So I've recently read the entire Open Meetings Act on the Illinois General Assembly website. And I know a lot of people have been concerned about the closed sessions and how many closed sessions we have, because they're not really supposed to be used unless they fall under one of the exceptions. And when you do go into closed session, it's stated that you're supposed to state which exception you're going into closed session for. That is never done, it's just voted to go into closed session. And it is on the agenda, but it's the same thing every agenda, it never changes. So if you're talking about employment problems of the same person for the last 2 years, that's just crazy in my opinion. So if we could start doing the closed meeting sessions correctly, that would be amazing, because the town deserves to know what exactly is being discussed in closed sessions. You can't take votes on anything in closed sessions, I'm assuming everybody knows that, so I'm hoping that's not happening. And I'd like to speak on the employee contract. I totally understand why it was made, but I do think that if you're gonna have the employees or the board members sign it, it needs to be voted on and not just handed to the employees one random day after not being discussed at all. I'd also like to ask if everyone has done the Open Meetings Act training that they're supposed to do, within the 90 days of being elected or appointed. If everyone has gotten that training done and did their certificates. I've never heard it mentioned in any meetings before when Gary was elected, so I was just curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Dees, Lawrence,
Yes.
Warren, Passo, Gibson, Nelson.
Yeah. We